Good morning, folks. So, I wanted to go over a couple things. I know a lot of people are wanting to get chickens, and I got a fly aggravating me. Um, a couple things you need to know about chickens. One, you need to get some of this diatomaceous earth. The reason for that is chickens are just as susceptible to fleas and ticks and lice and even ants as your cats and dogs are. And so you want to have some of this DE, as it's commonly called, to put down in your chicken coop, and also to make them like a sand bath. So they'll go and use this. This is kind of like their soap, right? They'll use this and it'll kill the pests in their feathers, right? And a lot of this is covered in this book. This is a really good book. If you don't know anything about chickens, it's called The Beginner's Guide to Raising Chickens, and it's by Anne Kuo. Kuo. And it's got everything in here. It tells you how to build a coop. It tells you, the different types of coops that you can build. It tells you the different types of diseases that chickens can get, right? So this is where I got my idea for my chicken coop, right? With the vent on the side, and it gives you the basic problems that chickens are going to get. Really good book. You can find this online. You can actually get it like from Amazon or eBay, or even just look up the book and you can order it online. And it's a really good book to have on hand if you have chickens, especially if you don't have a clue. Okay, so when I first got my chickens, I got this book, and I did a lot of the things that are in this book. It covers everything. It covers when they molt, how to add a new chicken into your chicken coop, because you don't want to spend 3 months raising up a new chick to where it's just got his feathers and everything, and just put it into the coop. It'll get beat up and it'll get killed by the older chickens. Okay, so this covers all that, and how to introduce, like, let's say that you're in an area where you can have roosters. Please check your community rules and regulations, because chickens are not allowed everywhere. And like in my community, it's a HOA community, and we are not allowed to have roosters, and we're limited on the number of chickens that we can have. And we also the coop has to be so far from an inhabited building, so far from the fence line, yada yada yada, right? So please check your local community, and before you go and invest all this time into getting chickens, to find out they're not allowed in your neighborhood, right? Or your county. I mean, you could be way out in the country and the county has rules on chickens, and if they have to be permitted, if they have to have a vet check, yada yada yada, right? It's a whole bunch of different things all over the country. Every community is different, so you need to check on that, right? Especially if you're by a suburban area. Like in most cities, they will not allow you to have chickens, but they will allow you to have quail. So always, this is good to have. Now, another thing that you'll notice is you do not want to feed your chickens the same diet all the time. So I mix my diet on my chickens I have them on the Hen House Reserve, right? And that's put out by Kalmbach, right? And it is a very good chicken feed, right? I just show you here. It's a very, very good chicken feed. It's got everything that they need in there, right? But I also mix it with my local granary has got egg layer mix. So I mix it with that. And another good thing to have is you want your poultry booster, right? You want your antibiotic drops, right, for your chickens, because you want to add this to their water about once a month. It's just good to keep them so they don't get intestinal worms. And soldier worms, right? They love soldier worms, the black fly larvae, stuff of that nature. So you need to, at certain times of the year like now, where it's starting to get really, really cold, you need to uptake their protein level. What I like to do is I like to feed them cabbage stew, right? It's a warm meal for them, especially in the afternoon, so that when they go to the coop, their stomachs are warm, and it helps keep the coop warm. Another thing, I buy these shavings, these pine shavings. Now, you'll notice that I have a hole cut in it. And the reason for this is you do not want to put wet shavings into your coop. So a lot of times these companies, they'll store these shavings outside, and so the inside of the shavings will be damp. So you want to have it inside I keep it inside for about 2 weeks with a hole in it to let it off gas the moisture that's in there. And sometimes that doesn't even work, right? So I always recommend that you dump this out like in a wheelbarrow, and make sure that it's not wet, right? Because you don't want to put wet shavings in your coop, because when the shavings start to dry, especially in that enclosed area, when they dry, they can combust, right? So we don't want to do that, right? So this is one of the things that I do. It's worked well for me for the last 5 years. But it's not going to address everything. I also add corn, right? Because I grow corn. So I'll take an ear of corn and just throw it out there in the coop, and they'll eat the corn off the cob, right? So this is my own grown corn here. But you can buy bags of corn and mix it in with their feed if you want to do that. I would recommend cracked corn. They can eat that, but it takes them a while, okay? Some of the things you want to avoid with chickens, okay? Potatoes, onions, right? Do not feed your chickens raw potatoes. Do not feed them any kind of onions, okay? It's not good for them, right? So you need to have a book which lists all the foods which are toxic to chickens. One of the things that people did not tell me was that cedar, any type of cedar wood, you need to keep it away from your coop. Cedar wood is exceptionally bad for chickens. It's something in the cedar, some kind of oil or something that's in the cedar that is highly, highly toxic to chickens. Keep cedar away from your chickens, right? Another thing you got to worry about with chickens is when you build your coop, you want to take your screening and you want to take that down into the ground 1 foot to 2 feet, depending on where you live at, and then cut it out. right? Take it outward. That way, if any predator comes along the edge of the coop and they start to dig, they're going to run into fencing. This helps prevent possums, raccoons, and rats from digging under the edge of the coop and getting into your chickens. Like I said, you invest 3 to 4 months of raising the chicks, in your incubator and then into your incubator box. And then in the springtime, normally this is about the time of year you're going to pick up chicks and you're going to raise them in the house or in a warm area with a heat lamp, yada, 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 where they can be monitored so that they have a good start on life. Now, with chicks, I would recommend that you also pick up Q-tips, cotton balls, and a small pan to use, because every day you're going to have to go and you're going to have to wipe their butt. I know that sounds stupid, but if you don't do that, the butt on them will get caked up with their poop, and it will block them up, and that will kill them. Okay, because this is especially true with turkeys. Now, if you are raising chicks naturally with the hen will do that for her chicks. Okay, they do it naturally. Okay, but the first 3 to 4 months of a chick's life is the most dangerous. With turkeys, I believe it's up to 6 months. Turkeys are not great to raise the first couple of months, but once they get past that new age of where they start to come out with their regular feathers, normally by that time, if they have survived that long, they're pretty unstoppable, right? They just are. So, I thought I'd tell you a little bit of the things that you need to think about, right? You do need to think about, with new chicks, you do need to think about they have to be kept warm. So you need a heat lamp. They do need to be kept in a secure area, because cats, birds, everything will try to eat them. So you need to have some kind of secured area, with the idea that you can expand that area as they get bigger. And once they get up to, like I said, 3 to 4 months old, then you're going to introduce them to the flock. Now, how you introduce them to the flock will depend on your space and whether or not you have a very large flock or a smaller flock. Believe it or not, a larger flock will take to new additions easier than a smaller flock. A smaller flock, they are locked into where they are on the hierarchy, and even the lowest chicken on the hierarchy will attack every chick that is there unless it is theirs. Okay, so introducing a new chicken to your flock is an exercise in caution, right? You first want to put them, what I did was I had my dog crate. I put my 2 new hens into the dog crate and put that dog crate beside the run during the day, so that the other chickens got to see the hens. They got to start to smell the hens, but they couldn't touch them. Then on the inside of my run, after about a week, I built an indoor run inside the run and put them in there. So now they are actually in the run with the other hens, but still the other hens can't get to them. And after about a week of that, then you let them into the coop. And normally there will be some fighting, just know that, because anytime you add new birds to a flock, all the hierarchy in the flock has got to change. So there will be some fighting. Be aware of that. Be prepared for that. Have your antibiotics on hand in case you have to treat a bird or remove a bird and put them back into an enclosure to where they can't get got at. So it is an exercise in patience, adding a new bird to an existing flock. But yeah, this is a really good book to have. I would highly recommend that if you don't have this book, that you get a book similar to this and read it before you ever get your chicks, right? Like I said, it's absolutely glorious to have chickens because they are the drama queens of the world. I'm telling you, my chickens have so much drama during the day. You can just sit there and laugh at them because they'll be talking to each other, and then the next thing you know, they get in a squabble over something stupid, right? It is just hilarious, right? They are absolutely the drama queens of the world. I'm telling you, ain't no Hollywood star gonna beat my drama queens that are sitting out there in my coop. I'm telling you right now. Now, you will always have one or two hens that are exceptionally, what I like to call, stupid and will get in trouble. So you cannot just shove your hens out into a coop, just go out there and feed them and water them and never check on them, okay? Because they will get, in situations, they'll get stuck behind the feeder, they'll get upside down somehow between the coop bars, they'll get stuck behind the waterer. They'll get stuck at the top of the coop somehow, hanging upside down, and they can't get loose. Their claws on their feet need to be trimmed. I mean, this is not something where you just throw them out there and you don't never worry about them. No, just like with a cat or a dog, they require maintenance. Okay, but they in turn every day give you something that you cannot find on the shelf at the Walmart or the Kroger or the Aldi or wherever you shop. And that is, absolutely, they will look to you as if you are their mama hen, number one. Number two, they will give you fresh eggs. And those eggs are the best eggs in the world, telling you. Okay? But it does take knowledge to keep your hens and your chickens alive. Okay? You just can't throw them out there in a box and think that they're going to live. No. Okay? If you free range your hens, you need to be out there with them while they're free ranging. The reason I say that is there are foxes, there are hawks, there are eagles, there's even crows that will come down and take a hen. Yes, I said crows. They hunt in packs, right? They are very intelligent. Hens tend to not look up unless they have been raised in a manner where they are used to having to look for those dangers. Most of your hens and your chicks that you get from your regular Tractor Supply stores and stuff, they raised in a closed area. They don't know what a hawk is. They don't know what a snake is. They're food on the menu. Okay, so yeah. That's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Now also, For those of you who have not heard, my heart goes out to Angry Prepper and his family. Unfortunately, he lost his son this past week. And so that's always a difficult thing. It's exceptionally even more difficult when it's due to suicide, because the questions go through your mind. Did I not see it? Did I do something wrong? So my message to Jason, that's the Angry Prepper, is you were an exceptionally good father, and sometimes you cannot see the mental anguish that is going on right under your nose. Okay? You could have been there 24/7 and it still could have happened. That is a mental issue, and a lot of times the people that are closest to that individual cannot help. It needs to be addressed by professionals, and a lot of times the professionals don't catch it either. So I don't think you were a bad father, and don't hold that in your heart. And yeah, it's always a hard thing. And the reason I sound broke up is I have lost people that I cared about to that. And it is a very difficult road. So I want everybody to be praying for Jason and his family. And yeah, that's what I have for you today. And I hope everybody had a good New Year's, even with all the craziness that's been going on. And a good Merry Christmas, right? But I hope this information is helpful to you. Bicycle.